Nobody inside that courtroom saw it coming. Not the judge, not the attorneys, not even Todd Tucker himself. Just minutes after he walked in with the calm confidence of a man who believed nothing could touch him, the verdict struck with devastating force. 5 years. 5 years in federal prison. And only a few steps away, Kandi Burruss, the woman once doubted, criticized, and dismissed, stood in complete control of the moment. But the question echoing everywhere was impossible to ignore. How did it spiral this far? How did the same man who once smiled for cameras, delivered flawless interviews, and embodied the image of the perfect husband end up facing a sentence powerful enough to shatter everything he built? Was it truly about the footage, the hidden USB drives, the intense courtroom confrontations? Or was something far more disturbing unfolding behind closed doors that the public still hasn't grasped? Because insiders claim Todd Tucker did not accept the outcome in silence. No, his reaction, his final words left the entire room paralyzed. Some witnesses insist the judge's expression shifted in an instant. Others claim Kandi Burruss looked genuinely stunned. So what exactly did Todd Tucker say in those final seconds? And why are insiders now quietly warning that this saga is far from finished? The moment the judge's voice cut through the silence, "Todd Tucker, you are hereby sentenced to 5 years in federal custody," it felt as if the air had been pulled out of the room. No one moved. No one breathed. Even the reporters, who had been whispering and typing non-stop all day, suddenly froze as though their hands had forgotten how to function. Because this wasn't how it was supposed to unfold. Not for Todd Tucker. Not for the man who had spent years crafting an image of control, composure, and quiet authority. But in that instant, the image began to fracture, and everyone could see it happening in real time. He remained rigid in his chair, jaw locked so tightly it seemed it might crack. The expensive suit that once symbolized status and power now hung on him like a costume worn by someone who had just watched his world collapse. Once a mark of power, now hung on him like a disguise worn by a man who had just watched everything collapse. His gaze swept the room again and again, searching for anything, sympathy, loyalty, an exit, but nothing came. Across the courtroom, Kandi Burruss remained completely still. She didn't smile. She didn't react. She simply watched. Her expression steady, her eyes distant. The kind of stillness that only exists after surviving years of turmoil. Because for Kandi Burruss, this moment was never just about winning a case. This was survival. But the shock of the moment didn't end with the prison sentence. The true impact came with what followed. The judge adjusted his glasses and continued in a voice that carried no emotion, only finality. Full custody of the children would remain with Kandi Burruss. A collective gasp swept through the courtroom. Todd Tucker's head jerked upward instantly. For years he had fought for control, for influence, for leverage, and in a single declaration, it was gone. In one ruling, everything vanished. But the judge was not done. He paused, letting the silence tighten around the room before delivering the next blow. The court ordered that shared financial assets totaling nearly $300 million be placed under protected management for the benefit of the children and custodial arrangements. $300 million, redirected in an instant. Shocked whispers spread like wildfire. Did he really say $300 million? This couldn't be real. It was over. Todd Tucker's attorney leaned in urgently, speaking in hushed, frantic tones. But Todd Tucker gave no reaction. He stared straight ahead, his expression empty, like a man witnessing his entire world unravel in real time. Then something shifted. Kandi Burruss finally moved. She released a slow breath, her shoulders easing as if she had been carrying the weight of this moment for years. Yet there was no celebration, no visible triumph, only quiet release. There was no celebration, only a quiet release, because no one in that courtroom truly understood the full story. No one except Kandi Burruss. According to sources close to the investigation, this verdict was never based on a single incident. It was built over months of concealed evidence, sealed testimonies, and recordings the public has never seen. Insiders claimed the USB footage revealed earlier represented only a small portion of what investigators actually uncovered. One anonymous court official reportedly told reporters outside the courthouse, "What the public witnessed was nothing compared to what the judge reviewed privately." Let that settle in. Nothing compared. Which raises a chilling question: what else was hidden within those recordings? Because Todd Tucker wasn't only losing his freedom. He was losing control of the narrative itself. For years, fans saw him as the stabilizing presence in Kandi Burruss's life, the supportive husband, the strategic businessman, the quiet force behind their empire. But prosecutors presented a drastically different image. The evidence painted a clear picture: a man consumed by control. Control over money, control over family, control over how he was perceived. And once that grip began to loosen, everything started to unravel. Even Porsche Williams, seated silently in the back row as the verdict unfolded, appeared stunned, her expression unreadable, because this outcome changed the entire dynamic. This wasn't just about custody anymore. This was a complete shift of power. Social media erupted within minutes. #Todd Tucker sentence began trending worldwide. Fake insider accounts circulated dramatic updates. Sources confirmed Todd Tucker was visibly shaken after the verdict, while Kandi Burruss stayed composed, ice-cold throughout. This marked one of the most dramatic celebrity courtroom collapses in years. Millions replayed the clips of the judge's words, zooming in on Todd Tucker's face, trying to comprehend how a man who once seemed untouchable could lose everything in a single moment. Lose everything in an instant. But what no one yet realized was that Todd Tucker wasn't finished. As the judge moved to adjourn the session, Todd Tucker slowly rose to his feet, and what happened next shocked everyone. He wasn't supposed to speak. Not anymore. The verdict had been delivered. The sentence finalized. The outcome sealed like a coffin snapping shut. His attorney even placed a firm hand on his arm, silently warning, "Don't make this worse." But Todd Tucker didn't sit. He didn't listen. The courtroom, already rocked by one of the biggest celebrity collapses in years, watched as he stood there. Millions replayed the footage, focusing on his face, trying to comprehend how a man who once had it all could see it vanish in a single moment. And yet, in that tense silence, it became clear: Todd Tucker wasn't done. And what Todd Tucker did next stunned everyone. He wasn't meant to speak, not anymore. The verdict had been read. The sentence finalized. The outcome sealed like a coffin snapping shut. His lawyer pressed a firm hand on his arm, a silent warning, "Don't make this worse." But Todd Tucker ignored it. He didn't sit. He didn't flinch. And then, for the first time all day, his eyes met Kandi Burruss's. What followed sent a shiver through everyone in the room. "You think you've won?" Todd Tucker said, his voice low and certain, not angry, not yelling, just absolute confidence. Kandi Burruss didn't respond. Her face remained controlled, calm, but her fingers tightened slightly along the edge of the table. Todd Tucker's lips curled into a subtle, almost imperceptible smirk. Then he whispered the words that would change everything. And the words that would set the internet ablaze within minutes. "You showed them what I did, but you didn't show them what you did." The courtroom exploded. Gasps, whispers, confusion rippled through every corner. What was he referring to? Kandi Burruss's lawyer immediately rose. "Your Honor, this is completely inappropriate." But the judge remained silent, eyes locked on Todd Tucker, studying him carefully. Then Todd Tucker reached into his jacket pocket. Instantly, panic surged. His attorney gripped his arm, whispering, "Stop. Don't." Security rushed forward, hands ready, but Todd Tucker wasn't reaching for a weapon. Instead, he pulled out something far smaller, a flash drive. Another USB. The entire room froze. He held it between his fingers, the metal catching the light. And then, for the first time, Kandi Burruss's icy composure faltered, just slightly, just enough for Todd Tucker to notice. His smile broadened. "This," he said softly, "is the part of the story nobody ever told you." Reporters were already typing at a furious pace. "What's on it? Is this real? Another recording?" The judge's voice cut through the mounting chaos. "Mr. Tucker, you will hand that over immediately." Todd Tucker didn't move. He simply stared at Kandi Burruss, as if waiting for her reaction, waiting for fear, for recognition. Slowly, deliberately, he handed the USB to his lawyer, but not before whispering just enough for her to hear, "They deserve the truth." Kandi Burruss's lawyer immediately objected. "Your Honor, this is clearly a desperate stunt from a man who has just been sentenced." But Todd Tucker laughed. Not loudly, but a quiet, chilling laugh that reverberated through the silent courtroom. "You really think this ends with me?" he said later, outside the courthouse, leaving everyone unsettled and questioning what was still to come. The chaos outside the courthouse had already erupted. Word leaked that Todd Tucker possessed counter-evidence, and within minutes, social media went into a frenzy. #Todd Tucker trended worldwide. Fake insider accounts flooded the platforms with dramatic claims. Sources reported that Todd Tucker held footage capable of destroying everything. Even Kandi Burruss appeared tense when Todd Tucker revealed the new USB. The story had just taken another explosive turn. Fans immediately split into two camps. Team Kandi Burruss accused him of lying and manipulation, claiming he was desperately trying to save himself. Team Todd Tucker questioned how he could remain so calm if he had nothing. Clearly, he knew something. This wasn't over. Celebrity gossip outlets jumped on the frenzy instantly. One viral post read, "If Todd goes down, he's taking secrets with him." Inside the courtroom, Kandi Burruss remained silent, yet those watching closely noticed a subtle shift. She was no longer staring at Todd Tucker. Her gaze shifted to the USB, sharp and focused, as if she already knew what it contained, as if she had seen it before or feared its secrets. The judge commanded that the USB be submitted for official review. But by then, the damage had already been done. Because the narrative had shifted. This wasn't just about Todd Tucker's guilt anymore. It was about what else existed, what else had been recorded, what else had been hidden. As security finally moved in to escort Todd Tucker out, he paused one last time. He turned his head slightly and spoke a final sentence. Not to the judge, not to the attorneys, but directly to Kandi Burruss. This was never supposed to go public. Kandi Burruss didn't respond, yet his silence spoke volumes. In that instant, everyone grasped something terrifying. Todd Tucker may have lost his freedom, but he still held something potent, something dangerous, something that could destroy far more than just his own life. And somewhere on that small USB, the next bombshell was already set. The courtroom buzzed with an intensity no one had ever felt before. Every camera, every phone, every reporter's pen was fixed on Todd Tucker, who sat quietly, sentenced, yet unbroken. The law had ruled for 5 years, but the tension in the air whispered that this was far from over. Kandi Burruss, standing tall, her eyes fierce, had won custody. The children were secure with her. Todd Tucker's billions were now redirected to ensure they could never be used as leverage again. On paper, it looked like the perfect conclusion. On screen, it was a battlefield of emotion. And then, as the echoes of the gavel faded, Todd Tucker leaned forward. The room went deadly silent. "You think I'm finished?" he said, voice low, chillingly cold. Gasps ran through the courtroom. Even the judge leaned in, hesitant to blink. Todd Tucker reached into his jacket and pulled out a second USB, slightly battered, unmarked, except for a tiny handwritten. The tiny handwritten number read, 2. Todd Tucker didn't hand it over immediately. He stared at Kandi Burruss slowly, deliberately. A tense smirk curled his lips. "This," he said quietly, "will change everything you think you know." Lawyers exchanged frantic whispers. Security shifted uneasily. Cameras zoomed. Reporters typed so fast it seemed their keyboards might catch fire. Social media alerts exploded as the world followed every subtle motion. Kandi Burruss's calm exterior flickered just slightly, enough to notice. She leaned forward, her voice razor sharp. "If you think you can play games, Todd, you've just stepped into the storm." Todd Tucker didn't flinch. His eyes glinted with icy certainty. "I am the storm," he whispered. He finally handed the USB to the bailiff, who passed it up to the judge. Hearts pounded in the room. What could be on this one? Worse footage? Hidden documents? Something even bigger than the first? The projection screen flickered to life, and what appeared made even the most seasoned reporters drop their pens. Private, previously unseen home footage revealed a side of Todd Tucker that was calculated, strategic, almost predatory. It showed him orchestrating schemes, manipulating financial records, and shockingly conspiring with unknown figures to discredit Kandi Burruss, Porsche Williams, and anyone standing in his way. The children appeared on screen again, their faces a mix of fear and desperation, trying to intervene, trying to be heard. The public had already witnessed their innocence before, but this was a whole new level. Todd Tucker's manipulations ran deeper than anyone had imagined, a sprawling web of deception stretching across homes, bank accounts, and private communications. The courtroom erupted. Lawyers shouted, reporters screamed into cameras, and chaos consumed the room. Reporters shouted into cameras, and social media erupted instantly. #Todd takedown, #Kandi wins again, #USB 2 shocker trended worldwide. Fake insider posts flooded the feeds. Sources claimed Todd Tucker's second USB could destroy lives across multiple states. Kandi Burruss reportedly knew about the USB and even had a backup ready. Todd Tucker smiled. This man was dangerous. Even celebrities joined the conversation. Alleged tweets flooded timelines. Oprah courtroom drama of the century. Todd Tucker underestimated Kandi Burruss. USB 2 leaks equals game over. The courtroom chaos hit every corner. The judge, visibly shaken, adjusted his glasses. This requires a full federal investigation, he said, voice trembling. Every piece of evidence will be reviewed immediately. Kandi Burruss's lips curved into a cold, victorious smile. She leaned toward her lawyer and whispered, "This is what I've been preparing for all along. Let them see. Let the world see." Todd Tucker's expression darkened, a mix of defiance and unease. "You think this ends with me?" he murmured under his breath, loud enough for cameras to catch. "You haven't even seen the final chapter." Security escorted him out, but his last words reverberated through the hall. Social media exploded in anticipation. Hashtags for USB 2 were trending within minutes. Fans debated fiercely. Is he bluffing? What could possibly be worse than what we just saw? Kandi Burruss had expected this. She was untouchable. Standing tall with the children, she finally allowed herself a quiet moment. Her gaze swept across the courtroom, over cameras and flashing lights. She knew Todd Tucker still had secrets, but for now, she held control. But for now, Kandi Burruss had one thing: control. She held the truth. And somewhere, in a secured vault, Todd Tucker's final piece of leverage waited, poised to drop and turn everything upside down. The suspense, the drama, the controversy, it had reached a fever pitch. Every viewer, every fan, every social media account knew one thing: this saga was far from over. And when the next revelation hit, the internet itself might shatter. Fans couldn't stop refreshing feeds. Speculation ran rampant. USB 3? Hidden footage? Todd Tucker's allies? Is he planning revenge? Would Kandi Burruss remain safe? The stakes had never been higher, the drama never more intense, and the world waited, breathless, for the next explosive chapter. Because if Todd Tucker thought 5 years behind bars would silence him, he was gravely mistaken. The viral storm was only just beginning. Alright, music fam, this is where you step in. This courtroom saga isn't just something to watch, it's something to react to. Do you think Kandi Burruss finally got the justice she deserved? Or does Todd Tucker still have tricks up his sleeve? Are the children truly safe now, or is there more hidden chaos waiting to erupt? Drop your hottest takes in the comments. I want every theory, every opinion, and yes, every wild conspiracy you can imagine. Smash that like button if you're living for this drama. Hit subscribe and turn on the bell so you won't miss the next USB bombshell, the next courtroom shocker, or the next twist guaranteed to break the internet. And don't just watch, join the conversation. Share this video, tag your friends, and let's make this courtroom chaos go viral worldwide. Remember, this isn't just entertainment, it's a masterclass in deception, secrets, and explosive revelations. And trust me, the next chapter is going to be even bigger. So comment, like, subscribe, and get ready, because this saga is only just getting started.